writing slash teaching style to some of the other information?
It's simple. I'm simple, man. I'm simple. Like my books, when you get into them, they simple books. Like my 12-year-old daughter has read that book. She understands it. And I purposely did it that way. Like I got people that critique my books like, you got grammatical errors. Yeah, probably so, because I ain't hired an editor to do it. Like I did it myself. You know, I was just more passionate about putting the information out there than anything. And then, you know, it's up to the person once they get the information to execute it. So it's raw, it's simple. You know, I'm not Hollywood, man. I'm accessible. You know, I don't care if I got $10 million in the bank. You probably still catch me with my thing is a $5 T-shirt from the corner store.
Right.
That's it.
So, in I guess layman's term, what is the difference between personal credit and business credit? Because the first time I even heard of the term business credit, I was having lunch with my brother, and again he referenced your books, and I was just like, what? Like I never heard of that.
Right.
I always, and with a lot of like there's like a big boom of like entrepreneurship now, right?
Right.
And that people glorify, you know, betting it all on yourself, you know, going into credit card debt because you needed to fund your dream. But my brother, he was talking about business credit, and he was like, a lot of people, if they knew better, they wouldn't have to do that.
Right.
So I think that is an important piece of information a lot of people don't know.
The difference is simple. The personal side, it's on you. The business side, it's on the business. And a lot of people still being, you know, led down the wrong path because they don't know how to build a business credit up to the point where like, yeah, you really can walk in the bank and get 6 figures and not jump through a whole lot of hoops. It's a lot of things that come with it. Like when you talking about even getting some money over $100,000, where they want to pull some IRS transcripts, you got to make sure that you got the right CPA on your team that knows how to file your corporate taxes in a way that you're gonna be able to pay what you owe the IRS, but at the same time be able to utilize the amount of money that you made when you go to the bank. It's almost like if you looked at Federal Express tax returns, we talking about billions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's no problem when they walk in the bank, you know?
Right.
Okay. We looking at they financials, we looking at their tax returns. We know what the business doing. You know, it's just like, I was in a Cadillac dealership one day, and man, Federal Express bought like five of these vans. Like it wasn't nobody in there like personally signing for those vehicles. The loan stood on, you know, the company, what the company looked like on paper. I mean, it was true. Of course, the taxes was filed. So that's the difference with being able to knowing how to you know, also build your corporation up to a point where you really don't have to utilize yourself personally to guarantee certain loans, you know. And then there's also a difference even once you move over to the real estate side of trying to purchase some property under your company.
Gotcha.
But I'll say this, the number one, the key thing to that is your tax returns. And we ain't talking about being bogus, if you know,
right,
if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So, I want to take a little step back. I want to know about, I guess your climb towards, after you got this information, after you packaged it. What was some of like the roadblocks you ran into as far as skepticism from people, as far as from the credit bureaus themselves?
From people, and a lot of it came from my family and people that's close to you. They think thinking you scamming, like, and I think that's true for anywhere you might be. When somebody's doing something that people can see that looks like glorious, and they don't understand how this person is obtaining the material things that they are obtaining, automatically they thinking you crooked or you on some, you scheming. And that's not always true. And it's so simple just to walk up to a person and be like, hey, man, what you do for a living, or I done had friends that flat out asked me. I had one of my friends, like, he flat out asked me, hey man, what you doing to get money? Because I used to have a philosophy like always remain a mystery to people, because sometimes when you engage people, it kills your whole mystique, and then they think that they like one of your family members. Like like somebody on the outside perceives me different than my wife and kids. Like to them, daddy, they be they be clowning me. But to somebody else, I probably was, I'm a blessing to them, so they gonna look at me in a different light. Just like some people, they don't feel like I was a blessing to them. I'm a MF to them. I'm a SOB, but all that come with it, all of that come with the game, and I accept it, and I keep it moving.
Gotcha. So like, did you run into any like roadblocks from, I guess,
the credit bureaus? You did ask that. The roadblocks that I did run into, I would say they were great roadblocks, because anytime that I ran into a roadblock, I figured out how to get around it.
Gotcha.
So they elevated my knowledge when it came to anything that I might have had a problem with getting off a credit report. I'll go back to when I was talking to Marcus them last night. My wife had something on that she was dealing with on her credit report, and it had been so much information was in my head, and it had been so long. I realized, like, man, I could just file a complaint with the Treasury Department against this bank, and do a few other things, and I'm gonna back them up, and that's what I did. I filed a complaint with the Treasury Department against the bank. I filed, of course, a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But those are the types of things that I was able to learn when I ran into these different roadblocks. Because it's all about playing the game within the confines of the law. Like anything can be removed. It might take you some time. It might not happen overnight.
Right.
Might not happen in 6 months. But you gotta keep at it. Like on one of the videos when I was talking about jamming your credit file, like some files I jam so much, and if you've never experienced this, the credit bureaus actually, like the things that they deleted off the credit report, it ended up what's called, it rolled over to the point where it was 2 separate files that I had created within the credit bureaus. Like one of them was Corey Smith was a good file, and then the other file was all the things that was deleted. And that's how much I had jammed the file. Like I'm talking about, I'm dropping letters. Man, I'm dropping 10, 12, how many letters every day. I'm going to the mailbox. Okay, at 10 o'clock, I'm mailing out these letters because I know the post office, they got their first run at 12. Okay, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna drop some more letters at 5 o'clock. Okay, now I'm coming back after 12 a.m. midnight, I'm dropping some more letters. And I ran this cycle, man, for a whole 30 days. And I'm only doing it just as I'm jamming the file. Even if somebody responding, like, I'm gonna mess them up in the end, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that I learned over the course of running into these roadblocks.
So how were you able to like obtain? You said you were calling these credit bureaus. You were talking to people. Was that your way of acquiring all of this knowledge and just putting it together, or were you reading books here and there? Like,
Nah, I didn't read no books. Like what I learned it from trying. Like I'm never gonna tell you something that I hadn't tried. Cause it's like my wife would tease me. She'd be like, the credit man don't know this. But she teasing me cause she know what's up. I know what I do. I can't have him, I can't have you. Nobody can ever approach me and call me on this. Nobody. I don't care who you can work for the credit bureaus. I can't have it. Especially if I'm saying I'm the best. And I believe it. I believe it. So I can't never be called out on it. So the only time that I have read books on credit, I just want to see, let me see what the competition might be. And it's nothing.
Gotcha.
It's nothing. But it's like, even with that, it's something that Apollo told me. He said, man, when we talked about people being lazy, he said, the stuff you putting out, it ain't like you can't find it. Because you can find it. You can find it, but most people too lazy to really look for it. You can find it if you watch this, if you watch enough videos. You can, I done discovered information by YouTube.
Right.
I don't know everything, and it's true. Like you can find out anything you want to know, but the problem is most people lazy. They want to be rich. They want to live the life, but they don't want to go through what they got to go through to obtain it.
So you were telling my pops earlier. You were telling him a story about you helping a homeless guy with his credit. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I was telling them when I was talking about, you always hear me mention duplicating yourself through other people, and I was just telling them about an incident that I had with a car dealership. And the owner of the car dealership is basically like saying, hey, come deal with me. And I was saying, he said that, he was saying, come deal with me directly if you ever decide you want a car from one of my dealerships.
Right.
And he was saying it out of fear, because he knew that I can walk in there through anybody, through you, your dad, anybody. When I talk about the duplicating yourself through other people. But that's when I was explaining your dad. I was sitting at the light one day with my wife and homeless guy, and I just say, hey, he better off than most people in the world because he blank. He like a newborn baby. I can make him look like I could make him be anybody I want him to be on paper. He could be a patent attorney for Federal Express. He can make $96,000 a year, right? He could live in the nicest neighborhood. I could do all of that because he a clean slate. You ever seen, you ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
Not Catch Me If You Can, but Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Yeah.
And the old Chinese lady, she was talking about the tarot card, the fool, and she was saying, the fool card is basically because it's like, what she was saying was, it's a new beginning. The fool can be anything that he wants to be. So that's kind of like how I was looking at a homeless person or somebody who's been locked down 5-10 years. Like that's their weapon.
Gotcha.
That's their weapon. Like, man, it might take, if it take you a year to make 50 grand, I do the right thing, I can have 50 grand in a month. So I done passed you, so I done ate up all that time in 30 days.
Right.
So, that's how that whole thing came about as far as taking the homeless people. Now probably other people doing it now. I might be taking a shot. You hear about credit partners. Now we got credit partners. Like, I ain't get that from nobody. Right. Credit investors, it happens just like that. Saw a homeless guy that thought hit me, man, let me try this. And I tried it. First 2 guys, 100,000 plus.
Icons. Celebrities covering one eye who are sworn to secrecy to mislead the masses into a life of negativity by way of destructive behaviors, i.e. drugs, sex, violence, etc. Most of these celebrities you see in the music industry and in Hollywood have taken a sworn oath to protect what they have going and to have you being misled by using drugs, violence, and all of these other crazy behaviors. Be careful. Beware of those who are pointing at one eye, covering one eye, or trying their best to shut down your first eye. Log on to urbanx.nyc for the latest in apparel, or shop urbanx.com to pick up the latest in our not so subtle teas, and we thank you for your support. Peace.
What would be your tip to somebody if somebody came to you with a general, they just wanted to repair their credit? Like, what would you say something like the first actions
if they wanted to?
Yeah.
Because if they was asking for somebody else, I'd be like, do it yourself. But man, my first thing is like, you gotta know US, so you need to have a copy of your credit report.
Gotcha.
Some people they'll come and want advice about their credit report, and they don't even have a copy of it. So the first thing is having a copy of it so that you can analyze it and make sure that all of the general things like the address, name, employment, all of those things are correct.
Gotcha.
And all those things are what you want them to be. Like some people can get a copy of their credit report and have a job on there from when they were like 20 years old and they worked at Burger King, you know, when it should be saying, I'm an engineer for Georgia Power now, or something like that.
Got it.
So that would be like my first advice. Get a copy of the credit report so that you can analyze it and then break down the things that weighs the most. Like, okay, I'm gonna attack this portion where I got to get these collections off.
Gotcha.
And then the next thing, okay, or if public records don't really matter now because, you know, they don't report like they used to.
Gotcha.
You know, outside, you know, the bankruptcy do. But that would be my first piece of advice. You know, get a copy of it and then come up with a plan of action.
Gotcha. So, like, how often, because you being so into your credit or just credit in general, I feel like people have this picture of you just always in front of you, like your credit score every day. Like, how often do you say would be like a healthy way to check your credit? Or like, because a lot of people stress over that as well. So you don't.
Man, they stress over because one, I don't check it a lot. Like I ain't into that.
Gotcha.
I'm not, and a lot of people that's hooked on like, let me look at my Credit Karma, or let me look at my FICO. That's an industry behind it. When we talk about the industry of almost like when people wake up in the morning and they go right to their Instagram, and they go right to their Facebook.
Right.
Some people do that with their Credit Karma. Those software engineers create these algorithms. These engineers are called attention engineers, I believe.
There was a book by Cal Newport, Digital Minimalism. He talks about like there are people who are hired for these apps to keep your attention.
Yep, to keep your attention, and you become addicted to it, just like
a drug.
Like a drug.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that. You know, I always say, like, I don't even focus on the credit score. I don't focus on that. I just know